those magnificent men in their flying machine. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
To scale the aileron, obviously I'm using a plan as a guide, but you get your wing and you've capped it all, it's all ready to go. So you can either use thick block wood as scrap balsa, or do what I've done to cheat a little. Right, I'll take the wing away. Well, I'll leave it there. So I'm going to try and keep it in the camera. This is a piece of angle, yeah, and what I did is I've cut it. You measure it to the width of where the aileron's going and cut it to size. So that's that out of the way. Get rid of the wing. Okay, and then best getting all your bits together first. So as you can see, look at the camera, there it is. That's how it started out. Well, what I've done is I've got the, before I glued anything on, I obviously checked it was the right width, which it is. It doesn't matter if it oversticks because you can sand it out, but that's definitely the right width. And I sanded the edge of it so it's nice and roundish to give it as much effect as possible. Now this width, I might add, you've got to get the width as close to the back of the trailing edge of the, oh, we got it right, the trailing edge of the, where the aileron sits. The width of the wood, if that makes sense. And that just so happens that I had that piece of angle that is the right width, more or less. If it's a bit too wide, you just sand it down at the end. So anyway, then what you do is you basically got that there. You get, this is a piece of the wood from the strip wood that they give you from the original kit, and you get a piece of old, I mean I always keep my old cuts, and you get a piece of old scrap balsa and basically get it straight as like this, and just use this as your template and mark it down the line, and that way you can cut it so it's nice and straight. And that's what I've used there, as you can see. And then what you do is you basically, because you got to get these in the centre, the actual, your little strut bits, your ribs, sorry. So what you do is you got to glue the edge of this bottom piece, and glue a bit of there, and glue the edges there of the ribs. And you can get it in, not white glue, super glue it, put it flat, make sure it's all flat, and then hold it down and glue it, and make sure that this piece here is 90 degrees square. Same with the other side. Right, so that's that part. Okay, the other bit is, remember I said in the previous videos, these are your offcuts from your main ribs that you've got with the kit. But right, what you've got to do eventually is you've got to really work on these. They're not cut to the right size. They're just off cut from the where I showed you where you cut it off the back there. So what you do is you've got to work out the size to the rib. So obviously before you've done all right, you're going to have them too long, if that makes sense. So basically you just put it up against the plan or the wing and you work out how much you got to sand off to make it level to the plan. So on this one it was about 5mm or 1/4 inch. Sand it back. Once you've got them true like these, so they're all in line like they are there, okay. Right, and like, you'll be laughing then. Right, the thing as well is like, because you've only got so many ribs from the kit that you're going to have to make dummies of these. You're going to have to cut out more. So you'll have enough off the scrap bolts of bits, off the scrap ribs. You'll have enough to do. You'll be 1, 2, 3, 2 short from the original. You know, from the amount of wings you've cut, from the amount of ribs, sorry, you've cut, or even if you're 3 short. So what you do is get a piece of scrap balsa and basically do the same again. Draw the outline and cut them right to size. Once you've got them to size, these are your other thing. Now the other thing, everything is you're right. These will be fine for putting in here as just to keep your ribs like happy there, right? With the balsa ones. But in the middle here, you're going to have this is where one of your clips go to hold on the rod that works both ailerons at the same time. It's a little piece of metal they give you with a kit. So I would suggest you use your hard sort of plywood ribs for that, because it's got to have something substantial to stick to hold it in, you know. So keep them for that, and they're balsa ones at the end. And then with the kit, again with the kit, you get the bottom edge which runs with the rest of the plane. So if you want to be cool about it, you just line it up like you did with the kit, make sure it's all square. And then once you've got that in place, pin it down. If I can find my pins. As long as it's square, it's okay, you know. So you pin it down like so. It's rough. Obviously pin it so where you're not going to get them involved, right? So there you have it. Right. because you've already got the flat bit at the back. So you've got your lines there to give you a guide. Okay, so looking at it, that should be about right. It says about there. Under that's it. And once you've got them there, you glue them down. Okay, so you know that they're there. Now I was thinking about this. If you glue it down, then obviously put your inserts in, the ones that you've made, and you glue them like follow into there. Okay, and that's how you follow it around. Glue all that in. There you go. And there's where you have that. Now the middle bit here, this is where your pin's got to go. You have a choice. You can either leave them till you're ready to put the pin in, or you can actually glue these in position now. Right? Remember I said using your proper ones that came, the hardwood, plywood, whatever it is, in the middle. I know you'd have them. Once you've got them glued in, bearing in mind you want to check it with your wing as well, just to make sure everything's in line before you carry on. But you have a choice then. You can either do what they've done on the main plan. It shows you that they've put another piece of this cap in right over the top, or if you want to be a purist, get a piece of this like we got here, a piece of this, the ribbon, and then run that down to the end. You can do it that way if you like. Either way, it's not going to really matter, because when it's covered you're not going to notice much of that, you know what I mean? But that's how it's worked. So obviously you can put another piece of this on the top, off the offcut of the kit, cap it that way, and then and then just put little pieces of the strip in here down, and then you're happy days. And that'll be your aileron made, sound to shape. See what I mean? Right, so when it's complete you'll see what I mean. Okay, so what I've said, any questions then fire away. But oh yeah, and always, like, because once you've made this, always make a few spare for when you do your next aileron. You don't have to worry about measuring it again and cutting it all. See, and that's how you go about it. Okay, okay. Right, as you can see, I've got to keep it in the camera thing. That's your aileron there. Now I've glued in one of the sides of the, what I was on about, where you're going to put the little clip that holds the rod on when it pushes them up and down in unison. Right, so I don't know if this camera's clear enough, but you're concentrating on this piece here now. This is the clip bracket. Right, now in the kit it just comes as one straight piece of metal. So what I would advise is because if you want to copy it to that plan, which is good enough, all you do is you like round off the edge that I've done that in. And once you've rounded the edge off one side, you keep doing this, by the way, because it'll make life a lot easier. You then put it onto your plan like so. That'll be exactly right. And then once you got it there, you can see where you're going to have to mark it and cut it. So you get possibly a permanent marker will probably do it better. So you know you're going to have to cut it, because you're going to have a top line there. So then you cut it right like so. So there's your mark. And then simply just get a pair of, if I can ever find these things, there you are. These will do it. Pair of snips. And snip it off as square as you like. Now you'll see what I mean in a minute when you cut it. Cut your fingers off. Right. Now you've got it square again, more or less. So we use the side you've, oh, where am I? Use the side you've cut for your next time to round, and you round that edge off. You see what I mean? And then cut again each time you make them, because there's enough here to make 4 easy. Okay? And then after you've done that, what you do with the other excess piece of metal, right? I'll put it up here so you can see. Yeah. What you do then is you basically, where you've rounded it off the first time, you just gently push on in the inside there. You've lined it up there, lie it flat like that, lie it flat like, so you've got your end of your trailing edges square with a, run your fingers down, and then use your eye, push, and then when you've marked it up with that, I'll pull it up to so you gently push it in that way with the round edges bit, but not all the way through. And where you see the mark, push it back upwards, and there you will find is where you've got to have it there. Now, so before you do anything, you must drill a hole. Right, if you don't, I mean, I would drill a hole because I'm rushing this bloody video. Right, so you push it up so you can see it's in line there. Right, what I would say, the next one, or when you do it again, round it off, and then drill your hole first, because obviously you've got somewhere to hold it, which, or use a pair of pliers now I have to do for this. Drill your little hole, which is some like little, to say that your clevis can clip into it. Yeah, that's what you got to do. And then once you've got that, then I can't stress how important this is. Right, once you've got it in there, like so, epoxy resin this in, epoxy resin the metal to there. Make sure it's flush with the rib, and once that's epoxy resin in there, epoxy resin the other side as well. We might as well do the whole rib then. Also super glue this bit epoxy resin in, and that then it's so that then you're free to like finish this rib aileron completely. Cap it on the top, cap this bit with the little strings if you like, ribbon caps. Depends how you fancy it. I mean, to be honest with you, there's not a lot there, is there? So there you have it. Right. Okay, this is right where the main struts are going to go for the wings. There's one there and there's one on the other side. Right, these I've got to stress are going to be slightly different from that because these have got to take quite a bit of strain on them once it's flying. It's the same principle again, like I say, round it off first, and this time, like I said, I've pre-drilled it. Now the difference here is I'm going to use to bolt the struts on. I'm going to use 2 mil bolts, like so. A couple of these 2 mil bolts. So I've drilled the hole, obviously to accommodate the bolt to go through. See, right? Now the reason I've done it is it's a bit different. Is you can't really use the plan. You see where I've marked it. I've made myself give myself enough clearance to get my fingers in under the wing to bolt the bolt onto the strut. As probably everyone that flies pipes will know, they're a real pain in the butt to put together, and the struts and that. So, and also when it comes to attaching this piece, I'm going to cut it like I've done before to that length if marked, and you make them all the same. So I'm going to make them all at once, these, so they're out of the way. So that in that case for Ian, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, I believe. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 8. You've got to make Ian, yeah. There's an in joke between me and him, by the way. So it's 8. A lot of. So they're more or less all the same for each side. Okay. I might actually drill another hole in the top there for a tuber because I'm really conscious about it. You epoxy it in as usual, and they do supply you these little thin pieces of ply, 0.8 mil ply to cap it over. And obviously when you put it on, you're going to have a gap there, so you want to put another piece of ply in between, so you've got a nice solid fit. And then like I said, I'll drill through that and put another screw in there so that, you know, unfortunately, you know, it'll hold it better. Because I don't really trust. I know epoxy's brilliant, but I'm just safety conscious, that's all. Okay, and that's basically how it fits, and it's the same for that one, and it's the front of the wing and the back all round. But like I said, give yourself enough clearance so you can get your fingers in. If you've got fat chubby fingers like me, it's a bugger. Okay, I hope the light's good enough. It should be. Right, I've been advised to try and show you this a bit clearer because apparently it's not understood what I was on about. Okay. Right, well, I'll take a risk here. Right, it should be dry by now. Right, this is how it's going to look when you put the clamp in. That bit's epoxied, and these pieces here are the inserts. So what I've done here, as you can see, what you got to do is you get these come with the kit, right? And yet what you're going to have to do is get another piece of little thin marine ply, such as, like I've been showing this piece here. It's that same thickness, which is ideal, right? And you basically trace around it with a pen and with a pair of scissors, because it's that thin, cut it out to shape. Once you've cut the shape out and checked it's all. And be careful, I might add, because there's 2 types for this kit. This is for the bottom of the rib, and these ones are for the top of the rib, for the other wing, because obviously this is the top wing. So on the bottom wing you've got to reverse everything so that there's pins sticking out at the top rather than the bottom, obviously, right? So once you've got that, you get obviously cut once, measure twice thing. You've got your original, and you got your copy. Once you've got your copy in, you put in line where you want this. And the other thing is put your ribbon cap on first underneath the rib. That way you can mark out where you've got to cut it for the metal plate to go in. And then once the metal plate's in like that, you measure it, and then you cut away. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. In fact, a little bit more room on there gives you more room for the epoxy to settle in. So once you've got it in, if you can see, my finger being in the way, it'll be like that. So you've got your offcuts there. You just cut a piece out of the middle, and then once you got that, you super glue these in. Doesn't matter. You epoxy your metal into there and put epoxy on there, and then obviously with the epoxy sitting on there, you super glue the rib in there, and it will, there you go, and it'll be a perfect fit. Okay, and make sure you've got them the same height. Okay, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and that's it, clamped in, and that's your pins in, ready for when you make your struts. Okay, and that's basically how it'll work. It all looks nice and neat, and you just repeat the process obviously on the other wing, on the bottom wing, and then reverse everything on the top wing. It's exactly the same, and make sure you measure it on the top wings. They've got to be in the same. That'll be a slightly different position, although I wouldn't think so with this kit, but here you go. Right, we'll come to that when it comes to it. Alright, so, well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. If I can get further back. That's the wing complete up to as far as you can go until you build the other side. I haven't put the sheeting on there because basically you got to get the struts from the fuse into the so they're lined up with the hole, so you can get access to drill the holes through, so everything's square. And then you put the sheeting on, and obviously you got to join the other wing as well. And I did say earlier, which I'll come to in a minute, the mistake on the plan, which I'll come to. There's your elevator. Another good tip would be, the elevator's all nice and there you go, see? Nice elevator. Oh, hang on. Bloody internet. Right, internet keeps cutting on and off today for some reason. So anyway, that's it, is up to now. Okay, the other tip is like, and I'll come to that because somebody asked me that earlier. The mistake on the plan is that I'll move it. As you can see, the plan shows you as you join both wings together, hey ho, job done. But on the real plane, if you look at any sopwith pup, they're all, well, I'll give you the best example. It's not shown on there, is this piece here, the V out of it. So I'll show you that, but you have to join the wings first to make sure you cut it. Plus also on the real one, there's a hole in the middle here, so like when the pilots could see up through the wing who was coming down on them. And that's on the real one, which I'll come to that later. It's all augmented, but there you go. Now, so that's the wing finished. Right. The other tip is to mark each elevator with a mark so you know which one's meant to go where. Because believe it or not, no matter how careful you make them, they won't all be exactly identical, no matter how good you are. Well, at least I ain't, anyway. Jelly. Right, so that's that. Now, the other thing I was asked was the plan. Right, all in all, it's a fair question, to be fair, because I would have thought about it myself and like thought, damn, how am I going to make the other wing, the opposite wing to this, right? Because they only give you one wing on the plan on this, which is fair enough, and that's why it's grease-proof paper type. So all we do is you basically turn the plan literally on itself upside down. Obviously, you'll get dizzy now trying to hit. There you go. So you turn the plan upside down, and it's exactly, build it exactly the same, but this time the opposite way. Because it's upside down in the right way, obviously, don't turn it so the wings, the leading edge is that side, because it isn't. And that then, you start the build all again. And then you don't have to worry about the writing or anything, because you've already built one side, and if you get confused, just look at the wing you built. Okay, chaps and ladies, this is the bottom half of one half of the bottom of the wing for the puppets here now. So really it's all basically the same as the top two I've shown you. The only differences is that you've had to cut away the rear, the end of the ribs for this bit, because this is the bit that fits inside the bottom of the fuse, obviously. So when it comes, I'm not going to bother putting the, as you can see on here, it shows you got to put the blocks in and the ribs and that, the spacer bar, same at the top. What I intend to do is I'm going to glue the wings together first and then fit these in, rather than trying to do it the other way, as my mate Ian's done, bless him. But that's that. And then the other difference obviously as well is I've put the servo, rather than doing the old-fashioned way with the middle servo in there, one servo to run 4 ailerons, there's quite a lot of power on it, so I've gone the other route of putting the servo, 2 servos, one in each wing, to loosen the load, you know, on the ailerons. And that's simply done by just measuring the gap between the 2 ribs and that, and I get a piece of little ply, 4mm ply, that'll do. Then cut your hole for your servo, pre-drill it all ready, screw all the servo in first, make sure it's all nice, and take that out and then white glue it in, and then obviously put strengthening pieces, strips in here to just give it a bit more strength, you know. Not that it's going to really need it, but it's best to have it. And that's that. There's no other difference on the wing, you know, everything else is the same. And obviously you put these the right way up, not the other way up, like some other person has done on a build that I've seen on the internet, and I was like, oh no, he's only gone and done it so the pins are shining the other way, which unless he's building a triplane, that's going to be interesting. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. So the next stage is to build the other wing, the last wing, and then we can carry on, join them together like before, and then we'll go into putting these all on. Okay chaps, hello, I'm back. What I'm doing before I've been looking at this plan, and before you insert in the where the undercarriage bar goes, one that side and there's one that side, and obviously you've got to put in your dihedral plate as well. So what I've decided to do is I've got the infills that I popped out in the first place, and I've glued them back in, because it says on the plan you're going to cut through these, like, to incorporate the actual undercarriage blocks. So that's why I put them back in with this white glue and strengthened them up, so that it's got something for the blocks to literally hold on to. So the next stage is I'll end up doing like I did on the previous video, cut through these 6 and then fill them in, and you'll see what I mean. Obviously I've got to do the same at the back, which is a nice job not. Okay, as you can see, I've put in the plate, the rear plate, it sits in the fuse for the back, and then obviously here is where the bolt goes for the wing, and I've made it level so it will be sanded to shape afterwards, and that's to strengthen up the ribs that I've cut. And on this side I've got, right, come on this side I've decided to go with they are supposed to be on the plan, they're supposed to run flush with the wing, which makes them at an angle, which I think is a bit weird, because when you put the undercarriage bar on, the strut, whatever you want to call it, it now sits flat, so that'll be nice and flush when it all goes together, the undercarriage. God, this is hard. And then with the outset, I'll just, when the sheeting goes on, I'll either build it up or I'll sand it to form shape on the edges to make it look right. There's going to be a piece of right thin steel going over it, plate in a way, so that'll look all apart. So all it's left to do is put the front plate on there for when you put in your wing clips or whatever. Anyway, that'll do for now. Okay, so that's that bit, and then we'll go onwards and upwards tomorrow. Okay, here we are. It's now, if you can see it on this, it's sanded to shape now. The rear end of the trailing edge for this is the bottom wing. It's all sanded in raw. It's the shape there and there. And obviously these bits here, the clamp, this is where you're going to put your pegs to hold the wing in. So that's just setting as we speak. And then the next job now, normally I don't do this till I am, well, before we sheet the plane up, offer it up to the fuselage, because this bit here needs probably chamfered into the actual fuse as it says on the plan, which is not going to be a problem anyway, because the next stage is the sheeting. So as I've done, if I can find them, oh god, they could be, there you go. Right, so what I've done is you get your piece of sheet, which is 1.5mm, offer it up to the centre like that. Obviously it's a long sheet. Work out the width of your rib capping, just make it sort of the same with this camera. Mark it from the top to the bottom, make sure it's square on there, and then once you cut one and you've offered it up and it's right, like this one, and it's square, you cut 4 more sheets, because obviously they'll be the same either side. And then you obviously, once you get to this bit here, which I'll come to, you measure that, the gap in between where your undercarriage bar is, so you go there and there and cut round, because the sheeting goes to there, so all round, but they'll be all the same width then. And then that's how you put them in. But don't forget, like I said, this is the main sheeting. Now normally that would be left like that on this kit, but I'm going to put a piece of metal in here, like on the real one, so, because there's a few tricks to add on when you're putting the rigging in, so that'll strengthen it even more. So that's basically that. And obviously you do the same here, you cut to shape all that, just put in the bottom sheeting, don't put the top in first, and once you've got that, you can put the top in if you like, because I just think it's easier when you're putting your servo wires through, and that's all. But I'm going to probably top the bottom of it. And then once you've got these in, see where my finger is, you've got a bit of a lip there, where you just sand that down to it to shape. Same on the other side, so it doesn't affect the middle bit. Like I said yesterday, as long as that's flat inside for the bar to go in for the undercarriage, makes more sense to me anyway. It'll look right when it's done. So that's basically that. And then the next stage, after you put your sheeting on, perhaps put them on top and bottom, then it comes to the fun bit of shaping the leading edge round and sanding it all, so it's all ready. Basically then it's then ready for covering when we get to there one day. So that's the next stage. So then that's the bottom wing. Once it's sanded, like I say, and it's all true, that's it more or less complete. Ready for wiring and covering, which is great fun. And the metal plate that goes on in the middle. The metal plate I might add, if you can see it on here. Here's your metal plate. And as you can see, if you can see with this camera, you've got the rigging. It goes onto your undercarriage, which is like not actually on the plate. It's on this rigging runs to the front of the fuse. So it's just oh, it's tricky on this camera. It's just literally above the front of the leading edge of the wing, and obviously that goes down to your axle pins. Now that is important on the plate, you see, because with this plane design, I believe when you look at it, the ball ache of this is when you have to take the wing off, you have to unscrew the undercarriage away so you can get the bottom wing off, which is like nightmare. If I was making this the other way, I would have. I was thinking about this yesterday. I would have put the dihedral instead of in the middle. I should have put the dihedral here, so that was a flat piece altogether. That way, that would have sat permanently in the wing, and you could have detached the wings. But that's the way the port scales are made. But either way, I'll work a way out where you don't have to have the ball leg keep unscrewing the doodah undercarriage to get the plane apart. So I'll work that out when I get to it. Okay then, right then, that's that for now. Okay, right, what I've done, I thought I'd show you this, is I've put the pegs in for the wings. I've matched the wings up and it fits reasonably quite well. So what I've done is what you do first is when you've got these, before you go and drill the big holes, you use a smaller drill as a pilot hole and then work our way up to the width. These are 6mm dowling rods, and you might look messy in there, but what I've done is when you get it in there, it's a really tight fit. You obviously put glue in the holes there, but as it goes through it holds some of it in, and then what you do is you put dobs of white glue on each side like I've done there, and then you twist the peg round, and it'll drag the glue in round, like suck it inside underneath, so it's all in underneath as well as on the sides, and then a bit on the back to hold it. Well, you can super glue that if you want. Right, that's that bit. And then here, I think it's a good idea that's for your wing bolt, so you know where you are before you put the top sheeting on. Drill a hole through there, right through, and that again, do it with a pilot drill first, and then the width drill, the right width for the peg or the bolt or whatever. Okay, for that, because obviously when you sheet cover it overwards, you've got the hole underneath as a guide. And then, as you see now, okay, as you can see, it's all sanded now and it's smooth. But that there is pieces of infill scrap balsa to cover over where the main spar, main undercarriage spar goes. So that's all in line with the wing now. It's all smooth as a baby's bum. So that's that ready more or less, and then all that's left to do now is put the top sheeting on. So what I'll do is I put a bit of strings in there and that, so when I pull the leads through, normally I don't bother, but I'll do it just because of the build. Okay, so before you start the sheeting, the main thing to do is your piece of string. This is simply just so when you want to feed through your extension leads from your servo points, you've got something to pull them through. Put it on tie it basically to the rib. It's not going to be sheeted, the last rib. Just put a gentle knot in there so it's in place, and then just simply feed it through the eyelets of the ribs. So four, up to the middle one, and just leave it in there. So that's that piece. Okay, I'll explain like that. So there you go. Right, and then the way I sheet them is where the ribs are, I'll put an extra piece in like so, and you simply mark it with a pen up to the rib, to that rib, cut it. It doesn't have to be precise because it's only using as a plate to hold the sheeting on, and so forth all the way through the ribs that are being sheeted over, if that makes sense. So they all be cut, and then you have them in place, glue them, sino them in. Just that out of the way. Next job then is I start in the middle, like I did with that one. You start in the middle, right it up to the one you've got, and if you're starting anyway, use your centre ribs. There's two ribs connecting this wing, so just go to the rib in the middle, so you've got, just line it up with that first rib on this side of the wing, and so forth with the other, and then it's squared off. Again, like I said, get it so you want to show off as if it's a rib capping, so it's more or less the same distance there. It doesn't matter if it's a bit longer or not, because it's not going to be seen when the covering goes on. So then you get your pen, you go to where you want the rib, so we'll put it, say there, to there, right. And we've got that. I hope you can see all this on here. And you simply get your ruler, being left-handed on a right-handed camera. So you got it, you mark it with your pen, like so, draw down it, and then if you ain't got a steady hand, use your ruler, like so, and scalpel it down with a sharp blade, like so, and then you put it back up to see you're happy with it. There you have it, so it's on and it's square, right? So that's fine. So once you've got it there, you obviously, where you've got your main spar, you bring up the sheet in there, hence why you've put the extra blocks in. So you got that. Now, as you notice, there's a hole here. This is obviously, that hole is there, so as to allow you to get your servo, your leads through from the servo. So what I tend to do to make it neat, like a 2p piece, it doesn't matter what size, whatever you had, 10p, 2p, and you basically put it into between the two ribs, the central ribs that are coming up to the middle of the wing, and you simply just get your pen, as you do. You can find it now. Bloody hell are you? Oh, there you are. Get your pen. Right. So make sure it's all lined up. I mean, if you've got shaky hands or whatever, just pin it in first. Pin the ball into it. Otherwise, just hold it there. I like to do. The other thing about this as well is it's not really majorly important to have it, because you're not going to be seen when it's inside the fuse, this bit. So draw your circle round. Like so. Okay, you've got your circle. And you've got your circle. Right, 2p that way. Again with the blade, as I've said before, first time round, don't try and cut it out in one go. Just get your line out with your pen. Follow the pen. Just go around it. You'll see. Eventually it will cut out. Like I said, referring to the remark, if there's any questions, like I've said many a time, just inbox me or leave a message and I'll explain it as best I can. Because obviously doing the video's on a stand, so I can't move it around, and I'm not the BBC. So, right, so you got that, go back, make sure you're happy with it, which is fine. I'll do. So there's your whole piece, you can stand if you want. Now the other trick is, I've probably lost it, no I haven't. Get a piece of old scrap thin ply, the ply. Now the ply goes on the back here, so you super glue it underneath. So you take it back off, and you super glue it. Just a bit of dab of super glue. And this is for, just put it in there. Okay. And you'll see why now. Right. Super glue it in. Right, as you can see this piece here now, this is for eventually when you put it on, okay, when it goes on, right, that's to screw in when you want to tidy up your Y lead, say, or your leads coming up, and put your say your undercarriage bolt there, and now it's got something substantial to screw into rather than just the balsa. That makes sense, see? So you have that. Right, so that's that. So we'll just rearrange this a bit. So there you have it. Now next thing to do is once you see the old engineering saying goes, measure twice and cut once. So now, so you know where you're putting your glue this time, you put it there, and there, and there. So you've got a line. And you run your super glue along all the edgings, like so, down to the marks. Obviously on this edge. Right, line it up. So you're happy with it there. Just hold it down. It doesn't matter if these are a little bit uneven, because you're going to sand all these afterwards, like I did say yesterday. But there you go. It's in. That's that bit, right? That's nice. that's that piece in. Alright, next piece then now. So next time now you do the front bit. I suppose the front bit will look a bit more tricky because you've got to try and get it in line. It's obviously got a gap there, so that's probably it's not straight, which probably wouldn't be, you know what I mean. Right, no problem. Take it to there. Explain this is not as easy. Right, so your marker, you got it square there. Let's get your marker to there. Just to give it that angle. Get your ruler. There, to follow it down. Look at for the leading edge where your previous one is, and you mark it there, so you get a square there. Right, and then you put it back out. So you roughly know where you are. On there, I'm going to be perfect there. So you got it okay. I know that I probably won't see it on the camera. Don't need that anymore. Right. Okay. Use your ruler again. Hold it down. Okay. Let's check you happy with that. As one does. Now you've got that end. You do the same with the other side of the leading edge. Just about a millimetre back. Or yeah, about a millimetre away from the leading edge to follow the rib caps. We'll see why in a minute. I'll do that again. Scalpel. Right. So that's fine. That's not to get that in there. Right. Super glue it in. Okay. Got it place. Another trick is if you can find it. Well, fingers to the bone. Real time, it says real time. Okay. Real time at this, right? I'm a bit happy with that yet. Quick spray. This spray is just like that mitre glue stuff, which is brilliant instant stick. Now we come to the bit that people can't say it was a bit tricky, but it ain't really. Just people say it. Right. Get another piece. Right, and the back bit is a little bit more tricky because you've got the edging, but you see it won't make a problem. Again, you go there. Okay. I'll try and do it with my right hand because I'm left-handed. Right. The way to go about it first is mark up your edge there. Okay. That's fine. I'm going to make it a lot bit easier for you. Get a set square. If I don't get it all on camera, I'm sorry, but I can't move the camera around. Line. Food. again. That's nice and straight. Now, here's the bit, it's going to be awkward. So you've got it in there now. You can either pin it if you can't hold it, but I would pin it. So draw your line. Right, oh yeah, right, there you go. Mark it there, mark it there. Okay, and also you mark it there. Just to give you an idea. I mean, if you do pin it down, I should have pinned it really, so you can, but you'll see what I mean. Right. And then underneath, go by the guideline there. And there. So you basically cut there and there, you're going with the pen. Nice and easy. Put an X on it so you know where you're cutting. Okay? Right. Well, we'll leave it like this. Okay, so we cut this out. I hope I get this within the 10 minutes because if the video cuts off, it'll be like, oh, excellent. Right, is that one? Right. And if it's a little bit over, you just sand it, so it's not really a problem, is it? Now you can see you've got your mark there, you've cut that out, so now you can look at the leading edge, or the mark, trailing edge. Give it a little mark. You look to there, you mark it. So you basically, what I've done there is with this one, you can see where your aileron cap's going on, where your cap of your trailing edge meets there, you mark it, obviously you mark it. So if you were lining it up, say like that, it might be easy to show that way. See, you line it there then, because you've obviously got your other mark there. Okay, so you've got two marks, and I need to draw a line on it because they're going to be slightly there. So you've got your marks, okay, and you just cut it. If this ain't layman enough, I don't know, bloody well is it? Right. Okay. Right. Again. Right, and you can see it's there. I can't really say. So it's there, trust me. So you've got all that there now. You're laughing. So simply now, all you do is you run your glue in the edges like so. Down there. Down there. And like I suggested, the hole now, you can see what I mean when I'm pre-drilling the hole, because obviously underneath you can see where you've been. It's kind of important, no more guessworking, bad enough as it is. So glue the edge there, and the edge there, and the edge there. Okay, will I get it in the 10 minutes? Hang on, I can make this in 10 minutes. Hang on. And then it goes, clean off the excess. Oh, shall I call phones are fucking on. Right, we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen, almost there. So it's set again. If must just give it. I mean, it's only me rushing it because we've got time. So spray it with that, and that'll seal it. Now, as you can see here, you might not see it. So now what we got to do is we get a little loop. Anything I do, scalpel. Get your string, pull your string out. Okay. And then just get a piece of old masking tape or whatever kind of tape you like. Masking tape. So. And you just tape the string like that to the top of the wing. Right. Now, like you might say, but obviously you're going to take the string away to sand it, so you just take it that side. And when you want to sand it all, the other thing of sanding now, you don't want to get lemon. Like I've shown before, you do it in circular motion. Like so. And that's the process you use. And obviously when you've done that side, move it over. And obviously I'm just rushing it now because I think the time's run out on the camera. You repeat the process. You take this piece of string, you just put it that side so you don't lose it, not that you will, and follow suit on this side. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If that isn't simple enough to show, then I don't know what is. Because obviously we've got the other thing to look at now. Along here you're going to have a gap, but that's all got to be sanded back down to the rib caps anyway, which I'll show at a later date. Alright, so I'm going to finish off sanding it smooth and then we're ready. And the reason it's like, I might add is that put strings on here and that way inside is because obviously when you come to covering the wing, you cover the bottom of the wing first. So once the bottom of the wing's covered, you can then sit in your servo, screw them into position, run your leads through, and then once you've got your leads up through, you've checked that it all works, make sure you check them first that they work. Then do exactly the same with the wires. Instead of put your wire lead on, especially, because then you only have to take one lead down, and then that way when it comes to covering the top wing, you have no worries about where your leads and trying to feed them through after you've covered them. Just makes it a bit easier. Okay?
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men.